Hi, welcome back to my channel. So, today's subject, AA. To AA or not to AA. I went to a meeting recently just to remind myself what it's all about. I have been to AA on 2 or 3 separate occasions, periods. I don't mean I've just been 3 times or 2 times. I went through phases of going. I think I decided that it's not for me, for reasons I'll go into. However, I'm not here to slate AA because, they do good. And a lot of people would testify to that. And they're perhaps, I don't know, I was going to check this, but maybe the first organisation to ever help people with alcohol issues. I might be wrong about that, but I know they've been around a long time. So for that reason alone, it wouldn't be fair to slate them. And I'm sure there'd be a backlash in comments if I did. So I'm not going to do that. But I thought, if anybody who's newly sober, perhaps they might be thinking about AA, because most people know about AA, and wondering, should I go, shouldn't I go? Will it be valuable to do that? Will they help me or whatever? So we'll start with the positives. So the first thing is being with like-minded people. Quitting drinking is a big step for a lot of people, isn't it? But yes, being with like-minded people can help you. And stopping drinking might mean that you suddenly don't have a social life, or you lose friends, or your social life just gets very difficult because everybody else is drinking and you're not, and it's like, I can't go out and stand with these people and drink Coke. It's not working for me. Especially if people are not supportive and they're like, I've won, have a couple, it'd be fine. As friends have done to me in the past, not understanding that I can't just do 1 or 2 drinks. So if you go to AA, nobody's going to be telling you to have drinks. That you're all on the same page. Bear in mind, though, that having that in common doesn't mean you're going to have other things in common. And it's like, it's sort of similar. Not quite the same, but similar. When I decided I was going to live in a van and be part of the van life community, I thought, I'll meet my tribe. We're all on the same page. It'd be great, because I've never found it easy to make friends, have friends, sustain friendships or relationships. I struggle for whatever reason. I'm better at it now, of course. I'm pushing 60, to be hoped I am a bit better at it now. But for much of my life, I've really struggled with that. So, I'll meet my tribe. It'll be great. But people are people at the end of the day, whether they live in a house or live in a van. Just because you've got that one thing in common doesn't mean you'll have anything else in common. So it's just something to be aware of. I mean, maybe it's just me who thought that way, thinking, people in vans will all be my best mates. I don't know. But if you go to AA meetings, you might meet 1 or 2 people who you can relate to, and that's it. But you will have we're trying to stop drinking, we have stopped drinking thing in common. So that's good. That's positive. Going to meetings, I guess, is something constructive to do with your time. As I said, you take alcohol out of your life, you're leaving a gap. And to not fill that gap with something constructive means you might go back to it a lot easier. So going to meetings is a constructive thing to do. There's 12 steps, isn't there? And it's seen as a spiritual thing. I mean, working through your issues, to me, is personal development, is spiritual, because I believe we are souls here to grow and learn. That is part of our purpose, and we've got different things to learn in life. It's probably different for everybody. So that to me is a spiritual thing. And some of the steps are, admitting our faults, making amends to other people. So that is positive, because obviously putting down alcohol is the first crucial step. But it's not like, I've put drink down now, everything's going to be fantastic. Life's going to be peachy. In fact, it might get more difficult to start with, because all the things that you've been suppressing with alcohol, avoiding with alcohol, suddenly start popping up for you to deal with. But that is positive, because it's like, I keep coming back to this analogy, the wardrobe that's rammed full of things that we deal with it. Those clothes that don't fit us anymore, we'll just put them in the cupboard. All this bit of junk, we'll just put it in the cupboard. We won't deal with it. But eventually that cupboard starts overflowing, doesn't it? And I think the emotions that we don't deal with start to affect us. Get out of it, fly. They don't go away. When you stop drinking on top of them, they can start coming out for us to deal with. And sometimes that's going to be uncomfortable, painful, but ultimately a better thing. Just like clearing that wardrobe out is going to be a better thing. So those are the positives. There's probably more positives, and if you can add something to that, then feel free. I couldn't think of anything else. So I'll go on to the negatives. Coming back to the spiritual thing, and this is what I picked up on at the meeting that I went to last week, when they're talking about God taking this away and God doing this and God doing that. And I'm like, God is not going to just do that. We have to do the work. And I mean, it depends on how you interpret it, I suppose. So like one of the steps, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. So it seems like it's putting the responsibility on a God. And like I say, I believe that we are spiritual beings, we have souls, and turning to that part of ourselves can help us. We have that guidance, that inner wisdom. To me, that's that spiritual self, the higher self, which you might want to call God if you want. And that can help us if we're tuned into it, because it will tell us the right way to go. But I think the danger is, if you don't understand that concept, that's how I understand it and what I believe, you might think, oh God, yeah, I'll just say, all right, God, take away my flaws, my shortcomings. But it's like, oh, it's gone now. I'm perfect. I'm a perfect human being now. I'm no longer selfish or angry or whatever. Well, of course, it ain't going to work like that. So that potentially could be a bad thing, because you might think that that's what's going to happen. It's nice to have faith, but faith alone is not going to just make everything okay. We have to do some work. And I believe we get helped, and maybe it's God or our higher self or whatever. We do get help when we ask for it, but we have to do something. We can't just sit on the couch and say, okay, God, make me better, make it all okay, because that won't do anything. I don't think, anyway. It's never worked for me. So yes, and obviously there's some people who, God, oh, don't talk to me about God or religion, anything to do with that, not interested. So that will put people off straight away. But to be fair, they talk about a God of your understanding or a higher power of your understanding. So it can be whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be God. Another negative, AA see people as alcoholics. So the people who go through their doors are alcoholics. Now, there's going to be people who don't want to subscribe to that. I'm not admitting I'm an alcoholic. I admit I've got a problem with alcohol, but I don't want to say that I'm an alcoholic, and I'm not going to go to any organisation that tells me that I am. As I've said before, for me to say I'm an alcoholic, it's neither here nor there, really. You know, I'm not bothered. But for some people, it's going to be too much, is that? It's too much of, what's the word? What is the word? I don't know. But yeah, that's not going to be for everybody. AA see the individual as the problem, rather than focusing on alcohol and how addictive it is and how constant use changes your brain chemistry, apparently, so that, and sometimes permanently, so that alcohol is always going to be a problem for you. Every time you have a drink, it's going to trigger that. Well, Annie Grace, she says that it's like a beast. I mean, she talks about killing it, but I think if you've got that addictive thing going on, if you've changed your brain chemistry, it's never dead. It can always be woken up. So if I take a drink today, tomorrow so it's opened its eyes today, and tomorrow it's like, all right, where's my drink? You know, and it's like, it sets it off, it brings it back to life. AA focus on the person and not the alcohol. In a sense, there's some truth in that, because if there wasn't, then everybody who had a drink would be an alcoholic, would have a problem with alcohol, and that's not true, is it? Not everybody does. Some people can have a couple of drinks and that's it, they can leave it for weeks or months. But I think everybody, no exceptions, has the potential to be an alcoholic. It just takes the right circumstances. So people drink for the feeling it gives them, usually. I know some people say I drink for the taste. I can't understand that personally, and I think, is it? Is it for the taste, not for the effect? But anyway, so for people who are drinking it for the effect, even if it's a couple of drinks a week, and they see it as, oh, it relaxes me, it chills me out, if I'm stressed, it helps, then they know it's there for that. So if something really bad happens in their life, what's to stop them drinking more of it to get more of that effect? And then starting, it was just 1 day a week having a drink, and now it's 2 days, and then it's 3. Because it's progressive, you build up a tolerance to alcohol, which is why you end up drinking more. I mean, who started off drinking a bottle of vodka the first time they had a drink? I didn't, but that's what I ended up drinking. So we do end up drinking more and more as time goes on. So even a moderate drinker or normal drinker can end up in that place of drinking too much and becoming dependent. I don't think anybody should get complacent about that. So anybody can be an alcoholic, in my opinion. So I'm not sure if I made my point very well there. The point was that AA seemed to focus on the individual as being flawed, having a weakness, and it's only certain people who have that, rather than looking at the alcohol and how addictive it is and how anybody's brain chemistry can be changed so that they become addicted and then can't drink anymore without it triggering that addiction. In that sense, it is about the individual, but it's the alcohol that's made them that way. Somebody who never drinks will never have that problem, but it feels like AA is saying that you're born with that problem. As far as I'm aware, there's no gene for alcoholism. To me, it's the alcohol that is a problem and not the person. And people already feel bad enough about themselves, I think. That seems to be an underlying cause with a lot of alcoholics, that they feel defective, not good enough. So how helpful is it to go to a meeting and be told that, yes, you are flawed? I'm not sure. AA say that you cannot get sober without their help, and they encourage you to go to meetings for the rest of your days because you're always recovering. You never recovered. To say that people can't recover without their help is just wrong. It's clearly wrong. Rachel never went to an AA meeting. She stopped drinking. I've stopped drinking without AA. There's lots of people who stopped drinking without AA. I mean, the AA might say, yeah, but you went back to it, didn't you? But people go to AA meetings and go back to drinking. I think that's almost a little bit cultish. It's almost it's like religion, isn't it? Say that you have to follow these rules. And if you don't, then you're not a true Christian or a true Muslim or whatever. So there's certain things, rules and regulations, that I don't like because I don't like following rules. A lot of rules. But there's some rules that are just there to seemingly control you. I mean, AA obviously believe that you need meetings, otherwise you're not going to succeed. But I say it's just not true, that. And I think it creates a dependency as well. I mean, I've seen people kind of like, I need to get to a meeting, like they're desperate to get to a meeting, maybe think, if I don't, I'm going to start drinking. But aren't AA telling you that? Or if you don't come to see us, you're going to start drinking again. And it's felt like when I've talked to people, seen people, that, okay, I've put down alcohol, but now I've got a dependency on AA meetings. Arguably, it's better than drinking poison. But I personally don't want to be dependent on anything or anyone, really, for right or wrong. Those are the negatives for me. Has anybody got any other negatives or positives? Like I say, I'm not here to slate them. I'm just highlighting a few things for anybody who's thinking, oh, should I go to an AA meeting or not? So yes. Anyway, if you've got a story to tell and you'd like to tell it on here, we can do a Zoom. Hopefully, you see, we had an issue with Rachel's video, which is why we only got a voice. But that might not be the case for somebody else because she was using a works laptop, so that maybe got in the way. I don't know what the issue was. But there's potential for a Zoom, or you can write your story in, or even when my van is fixed, I can drive to meet you somewhere. So there's potential opportunities. So yeah, let me know. So you can contact me via my email, which is underneath the video. So feel free to get in touch. Anyway, I'll shut up now. If this video's resonated or been helpful or whatever, please give me a like, comment, and I'll leave it there. But thank you for watching. Bye for now.